Hey, Wolf Den Podcast, Episode 6. We're coming at you with the LucasArts Strikes Back. After last week's episode, we got probably the biggest one so far. I'm your host, Ottoman. I'm here with Frenchie. And hello. And we are pumped for this one, even more than the one where we were talking about Hauser a couple episodes ago. I mean, we thought that was big, but oh my gosh, I mean, the internet has been broken. Instagram everywhere, all the Star Wars pages just absolutely broken. So we got Bad Batch spoilers. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it by now, I don't feel bad. So my gosh, where do we start, Frenchie?
You want to talk about the whole episode?
The whole episode, yeah. Let's just. How about we just watch? We'll just stream the whole thing, and yeah.
Yeah. All right. So obviously we could sit here and talk about like this random clone that's getting chased through the dark woods. I feel like we should jump to when Rex calls up the boys. In my opinion, I feel like that's a good place to start because he kind of talks about the clone that you see running in the beginning of the episode.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, at the beginning of the episode, we see a clone running through the woods. It's kind of ambiguous as to who it is unless you see the finer details that we'll mention later. So yeah, Captain Rex hails the boys, says he's got a clone that needs rescuing. And I thought it would be Hauser, right? Because I thought that Hauser was taken, and then maybe we'd see him right again, or right away again. That would probably make sense. But of course, there's other clones that we see later on, in Rebels and whatnot. So yeah, he doesn't give any details, just CC 7556. I think that's his call sign, right?
5576.
5576. So CC 5576, CC is Clone Commando, as we know.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up.
Yep, that rules out Hauser. So I'll let you go, Frenchie.
Yeah, so he calls him up, and I'm gonna point out what I've pointed out the past two episodes. Hunter again gets a mission brought up to him, and he is hesitant to do it because it involves helping somebody. And this is Rex that he's like hesitant to go do this mission for. He was hesitant to help Sid. He's hesitant to go back to Ryloth. And now here he is again, hesitant to help Rex. And yet again, it takes Omega and the rest of Bad Batch to convince him. And he literally says, all right, we'll go and check it out, but I don't like it.
I will say it didn't take as much convincing. As much convincing because, it is.
Because it was a clone.
Yeah, and it's Rex. And of course they have Echo vouching for Rex, of course.
Of course. That's his dad. That's his little daddy.
That's literally his dad.
But yeah, so Rex calls him up, and then when he says CC, like, it didn't even click in my head at all. I just automatically was like, oh, they're going to save a clone. Who could this be? Like, CC didn't click in my head. It was Clone Commando. I didn't think about it. And then we kind of get ahead, and they get to Darrow, and they're like, there's no life, there's no buildings or anything like that. So they're arriving in Darrow, and while they're arriving in Darrow, it hops over to Camino. So do you want to talk about the Camino aspect? Because you've been the one that's been like, we need Camino.
Yes, we need Camino. Yes, let's. So I'll talk about that. So it was interesting to see. Frenchie and I dug around in Legends a little bit, trying to figure out what they could be doing, and we didn't look that hard, but so there might be some answers or some hints in there as to what's going on. But basically, what we saw was all the clones were leaving, and Admiral Rampart was saying, "Get all viable clones on transports." So he says viable, which to me means like willing and able to, like able to fight, right? So I'm thinking that they might be setting off to go do some sort of like suicide campaign or something. I don't know. I think it's interesting that they're packing up, they're leaving Camino. He wants the Kaminoans to stay because, of course, as we know, later on the Empire just wipes them out. I believe they wanted to. They were just gonna have a skeleton crew there and still use the research facility for the Empire's various needs. At one point, we see Admiral Rampart meet with Lama Su and said, "You're not needed anymore." and the doors shut. We don't hear any blaster fire, but I think we can all pretty much come to the conclusion that he was executed right there. Nala Se was taken because she still has need, and of course we know that the Emperor was interested in cloning for multiple reasons, various reasons, and just, of course, she's a renowned scientist, so...
A cloner.
Yeah, right.
And a damn good one.
So we get to...
About that time, we're now on Darrow, and they've discovered the facility. And when this happened, it blew my freaking mind. Echo pulls out his binocs, and he's scanning the facility, and I see fucking commandos. Pure white commandos, and I lost my shit. I was like, oh my god, commandos. And then he says there's 50 of them. I was like, I've never seen this many commandos in any animated series that they've ever done.
Yeah,
so
we've only seen Gregor and then Delta Squad get that little cameo. So
so I was like, this is about to be dope. And then the most unexpected thing happens. Hunter's like, all right, pack it up, we're leaving. And I was like, what? Wait, what? That's the episode? Like, no way. Because it's only 10 minutes in. And Echo hits him in the feels. He hits him in the feels, and he hits me in the feels, and he's like, no, if there's a clone trooper down there, rather we know it for sure or not, we got to go in with or without reinforcements.
Yeah, and he mentions about
me on Skako Minor.
Exactly, yeah. He brings up Skako Minor, bro. Like, oh.
And I was like, whew, all right. Just hit Hunter right in the heartstrings. Make sure he's like, all right, there's no backing out now. And at this point, we're still like, yo, who's the CC-5576? And they get to the holding cell and they release him. And he talks. And as soon as he talked, I knew who it was. It was Gregor. And that to me was awesome. You get to see Gregor, how he survived and what happened to him. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, Otto. We speculated like how did he end up here. Last we saw he was getting blown up by a bunch of
droids. Yeah, a bunch of fuel cells.
And we speculated, we're like, well, he probably, got on a transport or something. And obviously, he talked about it in the episode that we see him get blown up, that he wanted to rejoin the ranks of the Republic. We kind of talked about, he definitely probably went back to the Republic and was like, hey, I'm CC, I'm Clone Commando 5576, Gregor, Captain Gregor. I want back in to the Republic. And he's a fucking commando. Why would you tell a commando no? Like, the Republic needs everybody they can get because they're outnumbered 10-1 in the Clone Wars at this point.
Pretty much.
So we kind of speculated that he probably joined the ranks, and then when the Empire took over, he brings up that him and a bunch of other commandos got sent to this facility to train clones replacements, as we know, stormtroopers. And we get to see Otto the concept art for the new armor. Whose concept art was that again?
Ralph McQuire.
Yes, the original content art for the Imperial Stormtrooper.
And a lot of stuff from Star Wars too. Ralph McQuire did a shit ton.
But I thought that was a really nice touch that Filoni did. He took that original concept art from A New Hope and slapped it in and was like, hey, this is the original phase of Imperial Stormtroopers. Now it's freaking canon, and I think that's really cool. And then shortly after that, we see them kind of, go through, kick some commando and stormtrooper butt, and they start to work on their escape. And then we get hit with another freaking surprise.
And this is what broke the internet.
Otto, take it away.
So they're going up the elevator. They're trying to escape because the facility's built into a mountain, so the only way to get out is up. That's what Gregor says. So the top of the elevator, and it opens up, and we had seen some commandos kind of dog and ponying some troopers around to training or whatever, their patrols or whatever. But this commando was not just any commando. It was none other than 6'2" from Delta Squad Scorch, the one and only Scorch himself. And which immediately, again, as if it wasn't already crazy, completely broke the internet. That now we see another Delta Squad cameo, but actually doing stuff and not just delivering the body of a dead Jedi to the Jedi Council. But so they flee him, and as they're fleeing, they're coming down the hallway, and we get to see Scorch in action. At this point, they're still using stun to Frenchie's dismay, because fuck stormtroopers. But I guess they're just. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, we get to see Scorch in action. Of course, this dude, he's not just any clone commando. He's the Delta Squad commando. Like, top-notch, top-tier dude. He even gets to keep his markings and everything. So he jumps and leaps across the elevator and was able to shoot Gregor a couple times, and they popped him with stun and were able to take him down. But to see him in action was oh, yeah, there's not even any words for it. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
One thing they needed to do to make it even better, and people did this all over the internet already, was throw in voice lines.
Yeah, throw in some of his voice lines, and some of the ones that we've seen on the internet, like some of them were silly, but other ones, people added them in there as if like what could really have been in the episode, and they fit so well, and it gives so much more personality to the scene.
Yeah.
And I think just the speculation behind that is probably just the legal aspect of not being able to use those old voice lines as per like contract or whatever. Some contracts are like that, like when you sign it, like we're using your voice for this game, blah blah. And then there's, of course, if they use his voice, they got to compensate him, and so they probably just skipped all that. Who knows why they didn't do it? Maybe they just didn't think of it or whatever, which would be hard to sort of conceive because they kind of think of everything. But either way, it was still great. That's getting to the nitty gritty, nitpicky.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like you said, they stun him like 4 shots before he finally goes down. They flee him, and they lock themselves into, it seems like a security area, a bunch of control panels, things like that. Tech figures out a way out through, what was it, an exhaust port?
Yeah, reactor exhaust.
Yeah, reactor exhaust. And Gregor's like, well, that doesn't help. We're on the side of a mountain. And so they call up Omega and Hunter, or not Hunter, Wrecker, excuse me. And they call him up, and then a dogfight ensues.
Well, no, wait, you're skipping parts. You're skipping because because remember, like they've been using stun up to this point. Wrecker says, "Screw that!"
Oh, yes.
Puts his DC-17 on full auto and murks a couple dudes, and was like, "Get on the bloody ship!" And then Frenchie.
And then they take contact by V-Wings, correct?
Yeah, they were V-Wings.
Yes, V-Wings. Basically the early freaking TIE fighter. They take contact by V-Wings, so they break off from trying to rescue the squad. And a dogfight ensues, and Wrecker starts racking up kills with the rear gun.
So many kills.
Then they swing around for another pass, and at this point, half the squad, including Gregor, is on the ship. They swing around for another pass. Echo gets on, and I can't remember. Do they get hit, or do they have to pull off again? I think
I think they pull off to not get hit.
And they basically tell Hunter, he has to jump to make it to the ship, and he doesn't land exactly in a way where he can grab onto the ramp, and he plummets down to the ground
and gets arrested by Scorch.
Yes. Scorch gets the last laugh and arrests him with about 30 or so Imperials and their little hounds. And Hunter tells the Bad Batch to leave, and Omega is very torn about this, obviously. But Tech listens and deuces out, and now we see Crosshair talking face to face with Hunter. And that's the end of the episode.
Right, and some just other small things that we did miss really quick was Hunter told Omega and Wrecker to stay with the ship, and of course she protests, but I think she's going to start really learning that everyone's part in the operation is important. That they need a way out, and they need a backup plan, because if they all get screwed, well, there's no backup, right? So if they have a contingent and they're just chilling out on the ship, and then they get the call to come in, and then they're gung-ho going. So hopefully maybe she starts learning the lesson that It's not even just I mean, either way, someone has to stay at the ship, right? So it's not even just picking on her at that point. It's like, all right, who's gonna stay with the ship to make sure it's not found, and then we need a pickup plan to get the hell out. Like, that's just as important, because that's even more important, because even if you rescue the clone, you're not leaving unless you have a ship. So that's probably the most important bit, is how the hell you're getting out of there, right?
And if those two had gone in with them, they would have all been captured.
Yeah, they would have all been captured.
Crosshair would have been super happy because he would have had the whole squad like he wanted.
Right. So this changes the dynamic as far as what we were saying is how we're going to get the whole reunion / final battle thing. Well, it's like, of course, either Hunter has to fight his way out, or he's going to have to get rescued by someone or whatever. But the Bad Batch, they've got a CC on their side, and they got a CC in their squad now. So I don't know if Gregor's going to go join up with Rex, whatever he's doing, or if he's going to stay with the Bad Batch and see it through. Because we do know that he meets up with Rex at one point.
Yep, he definitely does, as we know from Rebels. But yeah, I mean, they're offloading Camino, so we're not going to have the Camino Rebellion like we were hoping. That's out of the question. At least I assume it's out of the question at this point. They're ahead of schedule on getting everybody off planet, so I'm not thinking that there's going to be anybody on planet for there to be a rebellion. However, I believe the rebellion comes after the Empire has already pulled off of the planet in Legends. I think they get sent back to crush the rebellion.
Right, they get sent back, yeah.
Yeah.
Because whoever was at Camino still, they were able to kind of, like, I guess, do stuff in secrecy and then have their contingency plan, because we know it's been mentioned in the past episodes that there is a contingency plan in place. They don't have Omega, but maybe they improvise, or maybe they have another plan, multiple contingencies. I mean, the Kaminoans are inquisitive. They would plan for this, I would believe, right? And to your point, I think it's interesting how, Crosshair says the operation is, so like I said, are they going on a military operation? Like, what is, and we weren't able to find clues about in Legends. There could be, I'm not sure.
Unless he was talking about War Mantle itself. That's the only thing I can
Right, yeah, that's that's probably what that is. It's probably just the rest of War Mantle, because that's, yeah. But
there's now, 2 episodes left? So, with that being said, unless next episode is like exactly how it was when Omega was captured, and it's just an instant rescue, and within the next episode, we're definitely going to see a lot of plot dynamic, and I feel like the way that they're going to do it is next episode is going to be quote-unquote a filler episode. And they're going to kind of just be like, well, we got to get Hunter back, but we got to be smart about it. And then episode 16, the finale, is how they're going to get Hunter back. We might even see Hunter get killed off. I honestly we might see that.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that fact, honestly. I didn't even consider that, but there's a lot of, like I said, it's really hard trying to speculate, because there really is, it's so much we could do, like, that they could do, and we've been right and wrong about some things. So yeah, I'm not sure what their plans are. They always seem to surprise us, right? We could come up with 500,000 theories, and you think one of them's going to be right. Like, if we think of everything, one of them's bound to be right? You know what I mean? They could kill Hunter, they could rescue him, they could instantly, he could break out himself, and then it's like, oh no, it's actually because Sideways happened, and like Hondo shows up and was like, and you're like, what?
Hondo shows up and he's been working on Crosshair this whole time, like, and the other Crosshair could even, he might just be playing the part of the Imperial. He might still just be playing that part. We don't know. We don't know what's going on with Crosshair. We saw on Ryloth, definitely something was going on with him. We don't know what, though. We don't know if it was, like, his inhibitor chip fully snapping and he's just full on, Imperial now, like he has been, or, like, if it's snapped the other direction and he's now just playing the part as Imperial, like you were talking about.
I think maybe the twist that they could pull is, like, oh, I wanted the whole squad, but you'll do. And he says it really sinisterly, but maybe it's, like, he wanted the whole squad because he needs the whole squad to sort of fuck up the Empire. You know what I mean? But he's like, well, he got the leader, so it's like, well, you'll do. So you'll do with my plan, and then so maybe that's where they kind of twist it, like, oh, they like that episode ends with him being all sinister and blah blah blah, but then it's like but then like the first lines of the next episode, or him still talking like in that sinister tone that he talks in, but like the tone, but he's like I need you to help me blow this place up or some shit, like.
Yeah, and anything's possible. It's all gonna be speculation until we see it, and then when we see it, we're gonna get slapped in the face with shock and awe like we did this episode. We could have sat here and speculated forever about this episode, and never in a million years would I have guessed that we would see Scorch.
No, I figured we would definitely see. Yeah. I knew we were like, all right, War Mantle. We have to see Stormtroopers. There's no way.
Right.
So, and we did, which was really nice. Finally, and it's cool to see the clones reacting as well. Like, oh, like, these aren't clones. Like, yeah, like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, these are people coming from far and wide who want to fight for the Empire, and they might not. They might not be as good, but they've got numbers and. And of course, if you have numbers, some of them are bound to be good. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because when they first are infiltrating the facility, Echo says Tech says there's 50 commandos and 1,000
TKs,
clone troopers. He said but they said TKs, but they were like clone troopers.
Well, no, because he said. Right, because he said, I'm not familiar with that designation. So.
Yeah.
So they assumed that they were clones, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's definitely interesting to see. And then there is, I guarantee you, there's probably still, some clones can be integrated into the same training system as these raw recruits, like the cadets and stuff we see leaving Camino.
Right, and he asked, it's like, am I still going to be a soldier?
Yeah, the pole.
Go off to fight the war, then.
Into the trenches with you.
Yeah, really.
Definitely, I think those cadets are gonna get pushed into the same kind of training as all these other raw recruits from all over the galaxy. They're not gonna get the experienced clone training that their brothers got.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since, like, clone commandos, I mean, they were trained by Mandos. So, yeah. Are the new commandos going to be trained by Mandos? Like, probably not. But we do know that Imperial commandos, I mean, they're also, whoever they get trained by, but they're still the top of the top. But
yeah. But yeah, this episode definitely was my favorite so far this season. And there's been a lot of good episodes. So to put this one on top, they did an amazing job, especially after last week where I was questioning the rest of the season.
Right. I think that, but again, like we were talking about, like at the end, like it's annoying, but everything we've seen, it happens for a reason, and they like to surprise us. And I'm not seeing any names for the last 2 episodes yet, so I think that's probably what's gonna happen. It's probably gonna load up. We're gonna see the name of the episode and be like, no way. Like the name will probably give it away. So unless they release it like a day before. We're already on Tuesday, so
I think you're 100% right. It's gonna be one of those no way kind of like, oh, this is gonna be a great episode.
Yeah, maybe it's called like, it would be called like the Turncoat, and then we'd be like, yo, like Crosshair really is the good guy, right? Because or something like that, or maybe like Wolf Pack, and then we see how Wolf gets rescued too, and then yeah, right. So, but I think there has to be a second season at this point. Still, I've been going back and forth, but I really think that they're setting it up for a bigger conflict. We'll see the conflict obviously be maybe we actually don't even see this one get resolved. Maybe we get a cliffhanger. I don't know, because it just seems like so much. Yeah, it seems like so much has been built up that, again, they still absolutely could wrap it up in 2 episodes for sure. But will they? I think so. I'm definitely like 80-90% for a second season.
100 to 1. Those are my odds.
100 to 1. You're fucking lying, mate. See, but you fail to consider the form. Dave Filoni always gives us fan service. Right,
Yes.
right. Well, considering the form, 65-1. Very good odds.
All right. Well, with that, this is Frenchie from Frenchie's World. I'm signing off. This is Wolfgang Podcast, episode 6. I'm out, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in for episode 6. Kind of a short one, but we definitely had to talk about what was going on. It was pretty much self-explanatory, just big episode. Definitely go and watch all those edits with Scorch in there. And we will see you next week for hopefully another big reveal.